The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, four brothers, Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello, mutated via the definitely very scientific mutagen ooze from baby turtles to turtle-human hybrids, who live in the sewers of New York City and learn ninjutsu from their rat sensei adopted dad, Splinter. Or at least, that's the version we all know and love now.
Kawabunga.
Before this fun-loving group of kid-friendly heroes version was penned, the origins of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was actually darker than fans may know.
Oh, crud.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles began as a dark and edgy superhero or assassin story full of violence and cursing. So, where did it all start? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle creators, struggling artists Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird were both living in the western part of Massachusetts in their 20s in 1983, trying to make a living doing illustrations for local newspapers and fanzines. A few years earlier, Peter and Kevin had met through their comic book mutual connections and eventually became sketching buddies. When they came up with the Turtles in November 1983, it was all in fun and jokes. One night at Mirage Studios, which was actually their apartment before things got official, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird were hard at work at the latest chapter of their Fugitoid comic, when Eastman, struck by some unknown inspiration, drew a masked, nunchuck-wielding Ninja Turtle. Laird laughed and then drew a more refined version of the turtle. Not to be outdone, Eastman drew 4 turtles, each armed with a ninja-style weapon. Laird outlined the group shot in ink and added Teenage Mutant to the Ninja Turtles title, thinking it was the dumbest idea. But as time went on and the more the Turtles roamed in their minds, the more they began to see the potential in the offbeat concept. With their work on the first Fugitoid story coming to an end, the pair decided to make the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles their next comic book project. Drawing inspiration from some of their favorite contemporary comics, including Frank Miller's epic samurai adventure, Ronin, and his celebrated run on Marvel Comics' Daredevil, along with their mutual love of Jack Kirby, they set to work developing the Turtles universe. So how similar is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Ronin or Daredevil? Well, Splinter, the Turtles' father figure and sensei, is a homage to Daredevil's sensei, Stick. The Foot Clan is a takeoff of the Ninja Clan in Daredevil known as the Hand. However, the coolest connection is that the Turtles and Daredevil seem to share the same origin story. In Daredevil issue 1, Matt Murdock sees a truck barreling down an old man, so Murdock knocks the man out of the way. As the truck swerves, a canister flies out the back and strikes Murdock in the face. The canister is filled with a radioactive substance which blinds Murdock, but enhances his other senses to superhuman levels. Later, he uses his heightened senses to fight crime as Daredevil. For the Turtles' origin, the same scenario plays out, except the canister bounces off the boy's head and smashes into a bowl of baby turtles, who fall, along with the canister, into an open manhole. Splinter finds the turtles crawling around in a viscous fluid, seeping out the broken canister, which is the mutagen that turns the turtles and Splinter into human-sized heroes. Using Laird's copy of Janssen's History of Art for inspiration, the pair chose names for the turtles from 4 of their favorite Renaissance artists: Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael. As the 4 turtles were virtually identical in appearance, particularly as the book was to be published in black and white, Eastman and Laird differentiated the 4 through their choice of weapons. Leonardo would wield a pair of katana blades, Michelangelo used nunchucks, Donatello mastered the bow staff, and Raphael favored the knife-like sais. And it was Master Splinter, the mutated rat, who took credit for naming the turtles in the very first issue. In March 1984, Eastman and Laird created a new company, Mirage Studios, so named because there was no actual studio other than Laird's living room. Then Eastman used his $500 tax return, Laird emptied his bank account of $200, and they borrowed $1,300 from Eastman's uncle to print 3,000 copies of their first comic book, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. After printing costs, They had just enough money left to run an ad in Comics Buyer's Guide magazine. Thanks to that one ad, comic distributors across the country started calling, and Mirage sold all 3,000 copies within a few weeks. With more orders coming in, they printed another 6,000 copies and easily sold through those too. By May, they'd made enough money to pay back Eastman's uncle and split a roughly $200 profit. Although the comic was meant to be a one-shot, single-issue, self-contained story, they realized they might be onto something. So in January 1985, they completed issue number 2 and quickly received orders for 15,000 copies, which was so successful that distributors demanded 30,000 reprints of issue 1, and even more of a second print of issue 2. The third issue fetched orders totaling 50,000 copies, and sales continued to climb, peaking at issue 8, which sold 135,000 copies, thanks to a guest appearance by Dave Sims' barbarian aardvark character, Cerebus. The original Mirage comic book really wasn't made for youngsters. The turtles diced up enemies while spouting the occasional curse word, and one of the turtles' allies was hockey mask-wearing vigilante Casey Jones, who beat down even low-level crooks with baseball bats and hockey sticks. But when Playmate Toys expressed interest in producing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures in 1986, the comic's PG-13 attitude wouldn't fit Playmate's 4 to 8-year-old target audience. In addition, part of Playmate's marketing was an animated cartoon, which had to pass television censors, so to make the Turtles viable for the younger set, the Turtles had to soften up. Among other changes, the Turtles became wisecracking jokers.
It's a place where we can get some pizza! Right on!
Obsessed with pizza.
Ninja pizza?
The Shredder became a typical bumbling cartoon villain. Members of the Foot Clan were now robots, so parents wouldn't complain that the Turtles were too violent. And instead of damn, the Turtles shouted easily marketable catchphrases like
Cowabunga!
Perhaps the most defining change was the Turtles' costumes. In the comic, the interior artwork was in black and white, but the color covers showed the Turtles all wearing red masks. The only way to tell them apart was by their specialty weapon. As the owners of the franchise, Eastman and Laird had the final say on changes to their creations. However, neither of them were thrilled about the concessions made. To this day, Laird makes no bones about how unhappy he is with many aspects of the softened Turtles. So what was in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle story? The character of Splinter has remained consistent throughout all Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle adaptations. He is a wise, intelligent, and elderly humanoid rat martial arts master who almost never raises his voice. He cares for the Turtles as his adopted sons and sometimes shows a dry sense of humor.
Practice harder.
In the original comic and the first movie, he is Hamato Yoshi's pet rat. But other mediums have a darker version of his backstory where he is Hamato Yoshi himself, who was mutated into a human-sized rat by the same substance that created the Ninja Turtles. On the other hand, Shredder's motives aren't entirely evil, or at least no worse than Splinter's. While Shredder's machinations in the cartoons and movies usually amount to vague criminal activity that often involves scheming against the Turtles, he wasn't always a generic cliché. In the comics, it's quite clear how his organization amasses its wealth through drugs and arms dealing. What turned Shredder evil was that his older brother Oroku Nagi was slain by fellow ninja Hamato Yoshi in a feud over the love of a woman named Tang Shen. Afterward, Yoshi fled to the United States. This resulted in the young Oroku Saki joining the Foot Clan and rising through the ranks. He was chosen to lead the American branch of the Foot Clan, eventually becoming the deadly warrior known as the Shredder.
They must not discover my technodrome.
Shredder took his revenge by eliminating both Yoshi and Shen, which led to Yoshi's pet Splinter training the Turtles for the sole purpose of getting revenge 13 years later. In the beginning, Shredder isn't the Turtles' main antagonist, as he's killed off in the first story. In a back-and-forth rooftop battle, Leonardo takes down Shredder by plunging his sword right through the villain. With Shredder brought to his knees, the Turtle offers him the chance to commit seppuku, ritualistic suicide practiced by historical Japanese warriors defeated in battle. Instead, Shredder pulls a dastardly move and whips out a grenade, but Donatello quickly knocks him off the roof to his death. Of course, the Turtles don't stop at killing Shredder. The brutal reptiles also dispatch countless members of the Foot Clan without a second thought. And these are just a few of the differences in the origins compared to what we know the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to be today. So what do you think about the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? Interested in reading a copy? If you liked our video, don't forget to subscribe and follow our channel for more videos like this one.
Fake teeth, goofy noses, get 'em here!
Hey, April, why do humans want to make themselves dumber looking than they already are?